It's 6:30 and time for us to run you through most of the stories that are making rounds on the front and back pages of the newspapers in the country. Let's start off with the Daily Guide newspaper. Front page story, NDC catches cold, lines up 6 ministers against Bawumia. And that's the story on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. And you can see some pictures up there. You can see Fifi Kwete, Kesela Tufosin, who is a Deputy Finance Minister, Okujeto Blackwell, Deputy Education Minister, Elvis Efriankra, as a Minister of State at the presidency, and Emmanuel A.K. Ba, okay. Oh, Emmanuel Amakofibwa, okay. Yeah. All right, that's him. Okay, and then also economy takes off in 2017, that's according to President Mahama, and we brought you excerpts of that very story as well. Let me try and read a bit of that story briefly before we delve into some other stories. We have quite a number of newspapers this morning. So NDC lines up 6 ministers against Bawumia. That's the story here on page 3 of the Daily Guide newspaper. It says the ruling National Democratic Congress, the NDC, is oiling its propaganda machinery to, quote, douse the flame ignited by the New Patriotic Party Vice Presidential candidate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia last Thursday at a public lecture on the economy, where he shredded the government into pieces in respect of the economy. Okay, so that's how the Guide chooses to report it.
6 against 1. It reminds me of that joke that says the 6 heads on the Ghana cedi could not fight the 1 head on the dollar. Let's just hope that they are able to state their claims well, and the argument.
But today we are waiting keenly on that that manifesto highlights presentation by the president.
Yes.
I told this later this evening, so we are waiting for that. And do join us. Remember, this is your election headquarters. We'll bring you a lot more coverage on that very presentation as well. Dennis?
All right, let's do the Daily Graphic now. Future looks bright, but let's continue to work hard. That's coming from President John Dramani Mahama. Pull together to build united country. That's Movi bin Saleh, and Veep debunks Bawumia's claims. And so, like Kwabna mentioned, 6 heads against 1. Let's see how it goes and how the NDC tries to debunk the claims made by Dr. Bawumia in his lecture on the state of Ghana's economy. So, there you have it. The president receiving his blessings after prayers that were held yesterday. Let's go to the center spread, and a lot of color here. Beautiful pictures here depicting how the Muslims commemorated yesterday, Eid al-Adha. And on the back page of the Daily Graphic, rain causes floods in Koforidua, destroys houses, livestock and food items. And that was quite a surprise to me that Koforidua will get flooded. But a 2-hour downpour in Koforidua last Sunday left parts of the eastern capital flooded when some streams and rivers burst their banks and submerged houses, roads and shops. The floodwaters ran through residential areas, submerging mechanic workshop, chop bars and churches, block factories, filling stations and car washing bays. It was quite a heavy downpour, and even in some parts of Accra there was heavy downpour on Sunday. And let's do some international highlights here. Then Zuma pays for upgrade to Nkandla home, and Kerr Maksha profited during the Sudanese war. That's according to a report. And in sports, this is really sad. Ex-Burkina Faso star dies on the pitch. And Wawrinka snatches US Open title from Djokovic. And Ejako Onimo's legacy must be preserved. Israel, king of the Jews church, marks Eid al-Adha. Kwabna.
Let's do the Business Day newspaper, and since you wrapped up with some sports, I think I'll start from the back page of the Business Day Ghana newspaper. It says, the big one here rather, is Grant unsure of contract extension with Ghana. That's Ghana coach Avram Grant. You can see his picture there, and this story is reporting that the manager is unsure whether or not he's going to extend his contract with the country. I don't know what his reasons are, but I'll take a bit of that. But before I do that anyway, Jan failed medical at Reading, claims manager. And I'm sure this issue, if you have followed it, you'd realize that, Asamoah Gyan was trying to make a move from Al Ain to Reading. And then there was a report that he had failed the medical, so because of that, he was not going to be recruited. But then again, Asamoah holds a press conference, not necessarily a press conference. He's interviewed by journalists and goes ahead to say, no, that's not the case. There were other things that didn't work out. It wasn't because I was not fit. And then the manager for the club comes back and provides evidence to suggest that, yes, indeed, the gentleman failed the medical. Anyway, and FIFA opens fresh bribery cases against Blatter and Valky. Okay. Boateng Ruiz early life mistake. Let me just read the grant and show of contract extension with Ghana. A bit of that. It says Black Stars coach Avram Grant is yet to decide on his future with the national team. Grant, with 4 months left on his contract, has not signed a new deal with the Ghana Football Association. The former Chelsea boss, according to reports, is planning to leave his job after the 2017 Cup of Nations tournament in Gabon. For more, I get the Business Day newspaper. On the front page, though, it says IMF unhappy with Ghana's rising debts. It comes with a photograph of Finance Minister Seth Terkper over there. And over the weekend, if you did listen to Newsfile, we heard him respond to a number of issues, particularly some of the concerns that were raised by Mr. Dr. Bawumia. Let me put it that way. Dr. Bawumia earlier in the week. $22.6 billion needed to fight climate change, and big boost for SADA zone as Ghana Singapore signs agreement. Those are the stories on the front and back pages of the Business Day newspaper.
Okay, talking about climate change, let's still do this one from the Daily Graphic. Says Ghana, one of the first countries to ratify the Paris Convention on climate change.
That's a good one.
That's a good one there. And the center spread is a special feature. Industry picks up in Volta region as a tomato processing factory. So there you have it. Some of the canned tomatoes, bottled actually. Great pictures to see. All right, let's move to the Ghanaian Times.
Why is the Commander Sugar?
The Commander Sugar, we know that.
Was there a similar picture of sugar from Commander?
Yeah, well, we saw that the first batch of sugar had.
The final newspaper, front page story. Oil cash projects missing. PIAC calls for a probe. Interesting. Ghana to issue first 10-year local currency bond next month, and Mahama unveils highlights of NDC 2016 manifesto today. EC must scrap high filing fees. According to Professor Kweku Asare, there was a post on Facebook, I think yesterday, early in the day or so, that's where Professor Asare made this very call. So I'm thinking it was held from there. But I'll just take a paragraph or two of the oil cash projects missing, and PIAC calling for a probe. Says the Public Interest and Accountability Committee has discovered that oil revenue allocated to 3 projects in Upper West and Northern regions might have gone into private pockets, as a visit to the project sites revealed that no such projects exist. The missing oil-funded projects are rehabilitation of irrigation dam at Dori in the Jirapa district of the Upper West region, rehabilitation of irrigation dam at Nakori in Wa municipality, also in the Upper West region, as well as the construction of a 6-unit classroom block at Farikia Islamic Institute in the Tamale metropolis of the Northern region. The second paragraph says a total amount of 99,196.70 Ghana cedis was allocated to the 3 projects that PIAC could not locate at the project sites. 99,000 Ghana cedis missing, according to PIAC. Okay.
No, let's hope that we get some account for that money. But on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, President directs Harsh Board demand more for Ghana. Comes along with a picture of the president in a handshake with Sheikh Hussein Zakaria. And well, let me bring you some details of that story. Ghana is to request from the Saudi Arabian authorities an increase in the quota of Hajj pilgrims from the current 5,424 to 7,000. The request for the quota increase is in response to the dramatic increase in prospective Hajj pilgrims from Ghana. A lot more Muslims from Ghana want to go onto that pilgrimage. So, well, the government is asking for an increase in the quota. Amer urges Ghanaians to uphold peace. And, well, in African news, fighting erupts near Libya oil port, South Sudan elites enriched during war. I'm sure all the papers will carry the story today. And here is a feature of J.J. Rawlings, 1981 to 2000, his contributions to the political and socio-economic development of Ghana. This is the first part, so I'm sure that you want to pick a read from that. And women taxed to help check teenage pregnancies. And the Vice President says Bawumia does not understand basic economics. Now to the back page, titled Dream on Course, Kwame assures fans on arrival. And we know that he met some really massive reception at the Kotoka International Airport, even though he failed in his bid to annex the IBF lightweight strap. He received a treat reserved for heroes when he arrived in the country yesterday, but he says that his title dream is on course, and it comes along with a picture of him and Neil Ante van der Poel, Carl Loko, and Amu Bedia Kwabna.
Front page, New Crusading Guide newspaper. Tension mounts at customs. Staff mad at outside recruitment. It comes with a photograph of George Blankson. He is Commissioner General for the Ghana Revenue Authority. And also, Mahama Nanado are only talkers coming from the flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Papa Kwesi Indom. He's the doer. Says on the year Jumano. For the others, they just talk. They talk and talk and talk. They don't do much.
That's what he says.
He is the worker. He does things. And for him, his trump card is that he's done it before. He keeps doing it. If you go
and he says, if you want someone to talk, go and get President Mahama. He's the communicator.
Get the others to talk. For him, he wants to work. He wants to do the job. He'll be creating jobs. Also, God will give Nana Dodonko Akufo-Addo victory. That's Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo. If you go into the stories, there's one story that caught my eye here. Let me try and bring a bit of that to you. It's still relating to this very issue of joblessness, apparently. Okay, and he also has a story of Nana Akufo-Addo speaking to that very survey by the World Bank, suggesting that there are high levels of unemployment in the country. Well, Nanado says that very situation is unacceptable, should not be the case. Now, for me, the worrying trend, when I read portions of the report, and for me, the worrying trend was the fact that quite a number of ladies that fall in the bracket are jobless, do not have jobs.
Yes.
So for me, that was very worrying. It's about 17 to 11, that's the ratio. And we all know the prevailing situations and sometimes what people might be forced to do, not necessarily because they want to do it, but because of the current situation. So we are hoping that that very situation is addressed. But thankfully, though, all the politicians or many of those seeking to govern the country for the next 4 years are promising to create jobs. So whichever way it goes, we are just hoping that
they're able to fulfill
that very promise. But one good thing, though, is that for the statistics that was provided, most of the people who are unemployed are within the age bracket of 15 to 24. So we are just hoping that these are people who are still in school, who are not necessarily ready for the job market. So that's one thing maybe we need to take note of. Maybe let me just run you through this as well, and then I think I'll be done. The Daily Statesman says colleges of education lecturers on strike over low rank and pay. There's a picture of Professor Jina Anopo-Kwajiman there, and Adjoa Safo and Mrs. Akufo-Addo, the state of the economy at
Makers Church.
At Makers Church, Kwabenya. Okay, I think this is a bit blurry. I'm not too sure what it means. But Mahama has made Ghanaians poorer. And the Daily Statesman says this is according to a UNDP report. And there's a picture of Professor Kwesi Botry there. And the caption is, I agree with Bawumia's assessment of the economy. Those are the stories on the front page of the Daily Statesman newspaper.
All right, on the front page of the BNFT, cement sales declined by 3%. On power cuts. I'm sure many of you who are building will be happy about this. No certified electrician, no power connection, the Energy Commission warns. And energy levies are a bitter pill, Haruna tells employers. Let's check the back page, and it says use of made in Ghana logo to attract charges. And Bosomtwi Rural Bank opens Ebuakwa branch, center spread of the BNFT. CDH Financial Holdings Limited, Wisdom. It comes along with a long list of all their companies. Well, congratulations to Mr. Emmanuel Edusa-Akodie, who's the Group CEO of CDH Financial Holdings. I think, well, that'll be it for the BNFT. It's quite a fat one today. Yeah. So all of you business lovers, grab the BNFT today.
Let's go online now. We'll run you through some of the online stories quickly. And the very first story there, I am confident of peaceful. Okay, let's take this one rather. Elderly Chicago ice popsicle vendor melts U.S. hearts. Okay, let's move to the second one. The second one here is I'm confident of peaceful December 7 post coming from President John Dramani Mahama, and Kwekwaza urges political parties to go to court over hiked filing fees. And this very issue, anyway, most awarded creative agency in Ghana joins Ghana Club 100. And to the other story, the Burkina Faso player dies after heart attack during French Cup clash, and Benis brought us a bit of that story.
Yeah, really sad news. And Manchester United becomes first British side to record revenue of more than £500 million.
Yes,
you're Manchester United.
Indeed.
You should be happy. You were not happy about your defeat over the weekend, but you should be happy about it.
It's one of those things. You can't win.
You're making money. You're not winning, but you're making money.
Yes, we are winning.
But the fans don't get the money.
We just didn't win that much, but we are winning. We had about I think the last time I read, we were making around £475 million in revenue. I think now it has risen. Okay, just before this report, I thought it was around 494, so I'm not too sure.
So you're making money. So those of you who are sad about the defeat, just that the fans, you don't get some of them.
Dr. Baumia's lecture on economy. That's the full speech. If you visit myjournline.com, you can get that PDF document and read in total. Also, Donald Trump to release health details, and it has to do with that very issue pertaining to elections there and the health concerns that are being raised by quite a number of people there. Who seem to suggest that, well, it's high time people in the United States of America also got to know the health status of those who want to lead them for the next 4 years. And interestingly, though, it's not to suggest that this is something new. You know, is the only recent one is just between 2010 and now that presidents or aspirants are having to let their medical records public. But if you go into history, it has never been the case. They've always kept it to their chest. They always say they are. In fact, there was one instance where one president was said to be very, very fit. He was one of the fittest. In fact, his doctor came out with a report suggesting the gentleman was exceptionally fit soon after he died. And he died of some ailments.
Okay.
So
not
because of that,
deaths,
exactly. Because of that, it's been the norm that they usually keep it close to their chest.
And obviously because of what happened to Hillary
Clinton, yes indeed.
On the 9/11 memorial. So.
But she's saying she's getting better now, so we are hoping the campaign hits up once more. On City FM Online, pull down racist Gandhi statue from Legon. Okay.
Interesting.
That's a professor who is demanding this. And Mahama to give highlights of NDC manifesto today. Over 800 NDC members in Kumbungu join NPP, and Mahama, Nanado are only talkers, according to Dr. Papa Kwesino, flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party.
All right, let's check what's happening on BBC World News. Okay, South Sudan elites enriched during war, and this story is captured by a lot of local newspapers here, even in Ghana. And sculptor denies statue, mocks Mugabe. Africa highlights Ethiopian Paralympian protest again. Zuma repays Nkandla money. We know that during the Rio Olympics, there was an Ethiopian athlete who protested with how the Oromos are being treated, and now a Paralympian has also protested. Interesting. Now, baby born on Mediterranean rescue ship trapped South African miners emerge alive.
For that story about the baby who was born on the Mediterranean rescue ship, now the question has to do with the nationality of the baby. We don't know. We don't know.
So which country has, what territory?
Is open. It
doesn't
belong to anybody.
Oh, then that child doesn't belong to anybody. That child is a free man.
So that's the story there. But
all right. Obviously, a Nigerian woman has given birth to a boy on board a rescue ship in the Mediterranean after being plucked from an overcrowded rubber Dingy Medical Charity MSF said because the baby was born in international waters, his nationality was still under debate. Let's see how
Anyway,
this child...
But interestingly, though, nationality is not just limited to place of birth. It has to do with
other things
who your
related, who you're
parents
related
are
to,
as
and
well.
all that.
So, hopefully, that very issue can be sorted in the shortest possible time. But time now for sports. Benedict also is standing by with a lot more. For those of you who were unable to watch that match between Manchester United and it was which was the team? And Manchester City. Apologies. I need to apologize on behalf of everybody. Yes, I apologize. But time now for some sports with Benedict also.